Should we get to our main topic?
Yeah. Oh, if we force it. It.
All right, then time now for our main topic. We are returning to Derry, Maine. Is this a horror audio tape now?
Yeah.
Nice.
Fun fact, real quick, if you guys saw Pet Sematary, which we did, there's a person driving to Derry in that movie.
Yes, there is.
Fun fact.
All right, so full spoilers from here on out for It, Chapter 2.
People die.
The Return of Pennywise. Spoilers, you've been warned. All right, what do we think about this? Ben, Stephen King expert.
How did I know you could go with me first?
You're the Stephen King expert.
No, I'm not.
Well, it's Ben. We made sure.
We haven't been lying for the past year,
You're
Ben.
the king of king.
Ben,
Wait, has it been 2 years?
since we made this joke?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shit. It's been a long time.
Shit, indeed.
That's awesome.
All right, Ben, what did you think? First thoughts.
First off, I enjoyed it. I thought it was decently scary. Maybe not as scary as the first one, but there's a lot more. I feel like there's more tense moments. But then, of course, there are things like there are also some jump scares that I saw from a mile away, like where the flashback scene of Ben in the locker where he's looking through. You see the creepy face. He's like, Pennywise is gonna be back there. He just freaking has to be in shock and awe. There he was. And yeah, I felt the length. I do feel like this was also pretty long. And I don't know if that was just me or maybe I don't know.
People have been over exaggerating, saying this is 3 hours. This is 2:45.
Yeah, it's 2:45, which is
not terribly short, but it's 2:45.
it's still long.
Shorter than two of the highest grossing films of all time.
Long for your standard horror film.
Yeah,
very long for your standard horror movie.
I would definitely for which is weird because I've been hearing people say like, well, Endgame was 3 hours. I'm like, yes, but I was engaged all those 3 hours.
It's also a sequel to 22 movies.
Yeah.
So
yeah, of course it had.
It's not a good comparison.
Yeah, whereas for It Chapter 2, I was like, yes, I get this movie's fine, but they could have made it a lot shorter than it was. But all in all, I didn't hate it.
Sparks.
I really actually thoroughly enjoyed this film. I will say that I feel like it's less of a horror film than it is a character drama with horror elements in it. It's just less a true horror movie to me, but I still really enjoyed it. I have my qualms, but overall, pretty happy.
Ryan?
I think I might be the most negative on this table, which is a first, or not a first, but it's not usual. I quite liked it. I didn't have a problem with how long, or I did have a problem with how long it is because I noticed it. I don't mind movies being long. Just have all the scenes that are in there be important and worth it. And I felt there was a lot of scenes that can get cut out of this movie that would not change the movie whatsoever. And you can cut a good 30 minutes from this movie and it would still be as impactful and tight and have all the great character stuff that I love while getting rid of a lot of the bullshit that kind of gets in the way of it. I still very much enjoyed it, though.
Yeah, I don't think I liked it more than the first one. I watched the first one recently about, I think, Monday or Tuesday. I rewatched it. That's a really good movie.
That first one is legitimately great.
And I don't think this one quite lives up to it.
No.
It certainly does try. And in some places I prefer it. In some places I don't. I hear a rumor that he's going to try and cut a full feature for the two of them.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm into that. Yeah, I agree with Sparks, though. It didn't really feel like a horror movie.
I really wasn't scared almost the entire time. Compared to the first one, I was not.
And let's just get into it. One of my qualms is that Pennywise is underutilized.
He's not in the movie very much until the end, and it kind of bums me out a lot.
He is not in it enough for me. He is the best part about both of these movies.
Yeah.
For me, he's a lot of fun to watch. When he is on screen, he is chewing up that scenery. He is having a ball. He's always a lot of fun to watch in the movie. But there wasn't enough of him. I wanted more of him.
You know what? I didn't know that was a qualm I had until you said it. Because the first movie, almost every other scene had Pennywise in it.
And you don't know when he's going to show up.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I was like, where's Pennywise? What's going on with Pennywise? He's there. I know he's there. And then it just was like, okay.
Yeah, here in this one, like in the first one, one of the things I love about the first one is that he could show up at any time, anywhere. Yeah. And you don't know when and where. Here,
you know,
especially
when
in the middle when they're split up, finding their tokens.
Yeah.
You know exactly the beats of these moments, and it does take away from the horror element of those.
Yeah.
However, Stephen King has a cameo in those, and I thought that was delightful.
That was really cool.
I think his cameo is great. They made that joke that he can't finish an ending 4 times in this movie, and the 4th time, I was over it.
Yeah,
I was over it.
I was starting to worry. Like, are they prepping us for something.
So that whole
It's a Stephen King joke, and then he has himself make the joke that he can't finish endings, and then the very end, like, oh, I guess you could finish an ending at the end of this movie, huh? I'm like, I get it. Like, so my big problem with this movie, it felt so much more commercial than that first one did. That first one felt much more tight. I felt the interpersonal connection between all the characters so much more, and I did not a lot of research, but I watched a bunch of videos and people talking about the original miniseries and the book. And the fundamental problem for me in this second part is that the chemistry between the adults, they're all incredible actors. It is not the same as with those kids. They do not have the same chemistry as those kids.
No, they do not. I saw
and
it.
they are split up so much that
okay.
any chemistry that they did have, it kind of goes away for me.
But when they're together, like the Chinese scene,
that is
a really
the
good
best
sequence.
Yeah.
I do feel that the adults have chemistry. I feel a chemistry with the adults. It just doesn't feel like it's the same chemistry as those kids had.
Yeah.
And that's difficult to replicate when you're doing this type of film. I understand, but it is clear to me why. What my other biggest qualm with it is it's clear to me why the flashbacks are there. Don't think you need them. I thought the point of splitting this book into two, is so that you didn't need to do the flashback sequences in the second movie.
There was a lot of rehashing for things that we didn't necessarily need.
Yeah, especially like the sequences that are just from the first movie. I'm like, okay, I've seen this. Can we move on?
I also think I'm going to get all my negatives out of the way. I think Bowers could be completely removed from this movie, and nothing would change. Nothing would change. That is 15, 20 minutes of him just being an asshole just because he was in the first movie. They could have cut all that out. The movie would have been the same.
And it's in the book, too.
I know it's in the book, but...
No, I'm just saying, that's why they feel the need to include it.
His zombie friend was real cool.
He was cool, yeah. Speaking of that, I think there's an over-reliance on CGI in this movie that was unnecessary for a lot of reasons. I don't think there's the bugs that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Pretty much every monster person, it's all weird CGI faces.
The fortune cookie scene? That was creepy.
Yeah, yes. But it was unnecessary.
Yeah, that was. Oh, another one of my biggest qualms. This is the second time Warner Brothers gave the shaft to Andy Bean, and I am pissed off about it.
Oh, that's not anyone's fault.
That's not the fault of the film.
I know.
Which one's Andy Bean?
Stanley.
He kills himself right in the beginning of the movie.
That's the book.
That's the book.
Like that's the story. They're not giving him the
none
shaft.
of my problems are with things that are from the book. It's just like for this movie, when you make that first movie, you have to make a sequel to that movie. Mm-hmm. But they're incorporating so much stuff from the book that wasn't in the first movie. So they're adding all this stuff and getting into all the ritual stuff and adding all this mythology that the first movie was very grounded, and Pennywise was this threat that you didn't know anything about. And then you might introduce, hey, I've done all this research for 27 years, and here's this ancient Native American ritual. And I know it's the book.
No, I know, but
it doesn't feel...
Sparks, you go.
Well, I get what you're saying, but the thing is, they can't know that stuff till they're adults.
No, I know.
So I don't know how...
I don't think...
they still needed to introduce it.
Yes, and also... it's the same problem with the TV miniseries. The second half is not as good as the first half because the storytelling choices in the book allow that to that's just how it is. And I just don't think adapting it as directly is maybe the best thing for this almost 3-hour long movie. It doesn't need to have all this stuff.
In the book, I was doing some research on the book because I was waiting until after I saw the second movie to do so because I didn't want to spoil myself.
Yes.
But I guess in the book, the kids. Like Bill is the one who finds out about the ritual of Chud when he's a kid.
Also, his wife is not a character in this movie at all, and she's a big character.
So when they do the ritual now, from our review with Matt Ferrante from last time when we did Chapter 1, and from all the reviews I heard, I expected this movie fully prepared, fully ready to see this movie get weird.
Yes,
I expected a very strange, weird ending, even knowing what the book is ending is, having read it. I expected that. I expected weirder, and I'm not necessarily disappointed in that it didn't get weird. That's a harsh thing to say.
A little bit.
But I expected it to get much weirder than it actually did. I wanted that ending to get batshit, and to me, it just kind of kept going and then stopping.
Yes,
and it kind of frustrated me a little bit.
And again, I have a lot of positives, but I do want to get the negative things out of the way. I do think that final battle is cool and interesting, but again, all of them get separated again at a point, and it just feels like it's meandering for a bit. And I'm like, this movie's already long, and this battle's going for a long time.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted it to end.
Yeah, a little bit.
All the stuff that I truly love about this movie is the characters overcoming their childhood traumas. That is the core of the movie, and that is the best part of the movie, having all these people become better versions of themselves. I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
I needed more I needed more Pennywise. Really.
Pennywise's kill count is only like 3 in this movie.
Okay, so I do want to touch on that. So that one of my things is I don't agree that I think that the flashbacks to when they're kids, when they're looking for their totems, I think that's pretty relevant. I think those could have stayed.
To help overcome their traumas.
What I didn't need is when they come back to modern day, they also have another encounter with Pennywise.
Sure.
I didn't need all of those because for me, it doesn't mean much. I understand that, like, it's in the books too. I understand that him encountering them again while it's in modern day. It's even themed in a sense to the idea that they're trying to run from him. Every single scare that happens to them in modern day, with the exception of Bill's, is them being chased. And there's a point to that because they're trying to run from their fear when they have to face it. That's the thematic point. But what I would have sacrificed is I would have given up all the modern day encounters with Pennywise because I don't feel any stakes to them. I know none of them are going to be killed by Pennywise. It just feels kind of superfluous. I don't even know what his goal is in the moment because, yeah, he's scaring them, but it doesn't feel, the connection isn't quite what I want it to be. I would have sacrificed all of the modern moments but kept the kid flashbacks. And in place of those modern moments, what I would have had is Pennywise killing kids in the modern day. I needed more of that because that's the stakes. It's not, yes, this is a personal battle with them, but it doesn't become so personal till the very end.
Yeah.
It's about the fact that they're trying to prevent him from killing all the kids.
Also, I think the marketing might have been a big problem because it showed us both those moments in the trailer. It showed us both kids who get killed are all both in the trailer, so there's no surprise of, oh, is he going to kill any kids? We know exactly what he's going to do. And like that entire mirror sequence is amazing. And we saw most of it in the trailer.
We did.
I'm in some ways glad that they stayed away from recreating the shower scene from the miniseries because I don't think you could have done that better.
Yeah.
So the fact that they kind of sidestepped it, turned it into something else, but referenced the voices coming from the drain was cool. I'm happy with that. I like the Funhouse sequence. I like the Firefly sequence. I think both of those sequences are great. I wish there had been more of a sense of Pennywise killing kids in the present, because that should be the thing that's driving them. That should be the stakes.
Yeah. When they go to his lair, there's no kids floating like there was in the first film.
Right.
So there's no sense that he's taken anybody.
There's dead bodies, but they're going to a lair beyond where they went before.
Well, also
a
big thing in the first film was a lot of kids were missing. There was that one girl who was missing, and then more kids show. You see missing posters all over town.
Yeah.
And this one, you maybe see one on the side of a newspaper stand where it's the girl with the mark on her face who disappeared after she got her face bit off.
When Mike's like calling them and stuff, like you see a shot of the town where all the missing posters are on a wall.
Yeah.
But you don't see any of those kids or what happened. You just see the missing posters.
Right.
And it's one shot.
Yeah, and I wish that there had been more of a sense of them running against this clock of him doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. That's the big thing I would personally change. Outside of that, I don't have a lot of issues. It doesn't feel long to me. I know it's long. I know there are unnecessary scenes, but I didn't feel like, oh, this is taking forever. I didn't feel that. I think that the adult cast is really good. I do buy into their chemistry if I accept that the kids are them.
Yeah.
If I 100% can give in to the illusion of these are the same people, then the chemistry tracks. If I just isolate the adult performances from the kid performances, then it doesn't. But if I can give in to the illusion, then it works. And I think that's part of the trick of it. I think that all the adults were cast really, really, really well.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Bill Hader is getting a lot of praise, and rightfully so. He's excellent in this movie.
We have heavy hitters like Jessica Chastain and James McAvoy, but I really think Richie and Eddie were the two standout characters.
Yeah,
in this.
they.
100%.
Well, I can easily see those kids growing up to be those adults. Even Isaiah Mustafa, I loved him in this
Eddie,
movie.
So excited to see Isaiah Mustafa in a blockbuster.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Eddie, like the adult who played Eddie, is like almost scary. Like, are you his dad?
Yeah,
it is like pitch perfect.
Even Andy Bean and the kid
Stanley?
who plays Stanley, they look so much alike.
Yeah, they do.
And I could see the kid who played Billy grow into James McAvoy, but the standouts were Bill Hader and Finn Wolfhard, Eddie and his kid, and Stanley and Andy Bean.
When Eddie dies at the end,
that's really sad.
I thought it was a really interesting choice to make Bill gay. Not Bill. Richie.
Yeah. I kind of saw it at the arcade scene a little bit,
you're implied. You do see it in the arcade.
Well,
scene
not just the arcade, but what also before that when Pennywise is saying, "I know your secret."
Yeah. It's built into this movie. I know what Brandon.
Yeah, it's built in. I appreciate the fact that they built it into this movie rather than kind of making it the reveal at the end to just kind of have it there. It does feel like there was a conscious effort to say, "Okay, well, this is how we're going to interpret this," and I think that's a really good way to do that. to do something like that.
I do. I agree.
That opening scene, sorry, Sparks.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that opening scene was brutal.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's to show that Pennywise's infection is back, and he's bringing hate back to the town, and people
Yeah.
are starting to be evil again. It's like, that's shitty.
Yeah,
it's real shitty.
I would have liked one of the things that I would have liked more lore with Pennywise.
Yeah.
We get some of it. I kind of wanted more. We get a little bit of how he became Pennywise the Dancing Clown when he's in Beva's apartment. We do get the sense that perhaps he took over the role of this person that was real at one time.
He thinks clowns are scary.
Yeah, and so
People think clowns are
Sorry,
scary.
people. That's
why
yeah.
he does it.
That's what I
so
meant,
he
yeah.
created this. He created this Pennywise the Dancing Clown.
He adapts
persona.
to a form of whatever he knows is going to scare people most.
Yeah.
So he's an alien, right?
He's a cosmic being.
He's
okay.
think like Lovecraft stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
His true form is the lights.
Okay.
He has no
Yeah.
real physical form except those lights. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. I liked how they interpreted that.
I think they did a really great job with that.
Yeah.
It's something that is really hard to nail down. If you
And
go
they
back to
didn't,
the
like-
original miniseries,
Yeah.
he just turns into a giant spider.
It's
So I think this
awful.
is much
Oh,
better.
okay.
It's awful.
Well, they did bring
man.
this spider, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Yes, they
'Cause
brought,
I knew-
and
I-
they
and that's
brought
in the
in
book,
his
Yeah.
spider legs, but they kept like Pennywise
The clown,
overall look.
which I
Because
thought
you
was
wanted
cool.
because you wanted his performance to come through, and I think it absolutely does. Because you don't want to get rid of Alexander Skarsgård's performance there.
No.
Because he is what makes Pennywise.
Oh yeah.
Do you mean Bill Skarsgård?
Yeah.
That's the one. Who's Alexander Skarsgård?
Tarzan. I think?
Tarzan.
Got it.
Yeah. There's a lot of Skarsgårds. Holy crap.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Which one's the Viking? Stellan?
Stellan is...
No, Stellan's the dad. Is the old
Stellan's
one.
the dad.
That's he's in
That's
Thor.
yeah.
in Thor.
Oh, who plays the Viking?
I don't know.
Which,
In
Is there a
what?
third Skarsgård?
Yeah.
In what?
Shit.
In
Vikings.
what?
The show Vikings.
In Vikings. The
Oh,
history
I
show
don't know.
Vikings.
I don't know.
I'll look it up. Okay.
Anyway, I agree. It's so hard because I agree. Like it's a problem that they're so separated in the final battle and everything. However, I would not trade away the sequence with Bev and Ben when they're reaching out to each other between the soil and the bathroom full of blood.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
It's a
get
cool
rid of
sequence.
that, and I wouldn't get rid of the sequence with Bill encountering young Bill and Georgie. I wouldn't get rid of either of them. And so I'm
no.
like, I want both of those sequences because I think they're excellent, and I wouldn't throw them away.
Apparently, the stall scene with Bev, that's the most fake blood ever used in a scene.
Gustav Skarsgård
Skarsgård?
is
Yeah.
in Vikings. The most Skarsgårdian.
Gustav Skarsgård.
That is the most. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade any of those sequences, and I wouldn't trade Richie and Eddie looking at the doors with the Pomeranian.
Oh, I
That's
love
so
that
good.
scene.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is like I'm like I know it's long, I know it's a lot, but it's also fantastic.
And see,
so
that's the thing. Like I don't I totally understand what Ryan you're saying about the length. It is long for a horror movie.
But
but one of the things that I also have to agree with Sparks. Like there are a lot of scenes in this movie that I wouldn't want to get rid of, and strangely, I just wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have minded another 15 minutes of this movie, to be perfectly honest, because there was more about that I wanted from this movie. Like, damn, give me the damn turtle. I want to see that damn turtle.
There is a turtle at one moment.
I want to see that turtle talk.
that's the weird stuff that I was kind of expecting.
Matt wanted it too.
Yeah.
There is a reference to Chud, which is very important,
Yeah.
and there's even a passing reference to the tower,
Yes.
which is awesome.
Yeah, I appreciated those. Give me the damn turtle.
Yeah,
I want the weird stuff.
I thought that having these big, very talented actors in this horror movie made a huge difference. There's a version of this where, actually it's the miniseries, where it's lighter fare actors who don't bring as much to the material. Like what was so effective is Jessica Chastain's reaction or James McAvoy's reactions, Isaiah Mustafa's, everybody's reactions to the things they're encountering. Eddie is fantastic. I love the sequence where Stanley's head appears and Eddie's backed into the corner.
Oh my God, that's
and
awesome.
Ed can't do anything about it, and it's like he's gonna die, and he's like, "Don't be mad, Bill. I'm just scared."
That was
I'm
so
too scared.
That was so sweet.
Yeah, it's really good. These actors play it so definitely. It feels sincere.
There's also
I never
Yes.
feel like anything happening to them or that they're experiencing isn't real and genuine, and that's crazy considering the material.
There's also moments where the humor this is a much more humorous film than the first one.
Oh yeah.
But there are moments where the humor almost seems like you went for a comedy. Like when Just Call Me Angel shows up when the zombie...
that moment 100% doesn't work for
That
me.
is
No, it doesn't work at all.
So that was okay. I thought I was hallucinating for a second when
No.
that's something from like Army of Darkness. That does
No,
not
because I
belong
was
in this
talking to
movie.
Fanny about it on the way home about that song, and she's like, "What song?"
And
I'm
it's
like,
the only time that something like that happens in this movie.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
It felt more commercial. There was little bits of that all over the movie.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's because Gary Dauberman wrote this movie alone. Because he's
Maybe.
the only scriptwriter, whereas there were 3 people working on the last one.
I don't know, because you can't you can't chalk up to him. That's more than him. That's Muschietti making that choice. That's a lot of people making the call and saying that's okay.
It's a bad call.
What was I going to say? Oh, but one of my positives is obviously whenever Bill Skarsgård's on screen.
Yeah.
My 2 favorite instances of when Pennywise is on screen is I love it when he's talking to Beverly and he's putting on the makeup and he cuts himself.
He cuts
with his
the lines
fingernails.
into his
That's really
into
cool.
his face.
And also, I really just love how his eyes glow when Ben is in the cabin. And Pennywise is like, all those sit-ups, all those push-ups, and you're going to die alone.
Yeah.
And you can see his eyes glow like a Sith Lord. And I'm like, that is some effed up imagery right there.
Yeah,
I dig that.
the girl in the bleachers where Penny was like,
that's
so good.
I'm a clown.
I
No one
felt
likes
so-
me.
That's his best.
I knew she was going to die, but I'm like, I feel bad for you.
Yeah, frankly, that encounter with the little girl is his best scene.
That's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's a lot like Georgie in the sewer.
Oh,
It is. It's exactly like it.
There is a lot of good. I think there's some good scares in here. I think Bev's head on fire is actually really terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes.
You mean Ghost Rider?
See, this is why I'm saying, I think all of the them young flashbacks work for me. The one that, and I don't fault the movie for it, but the one that bothers me is Eddie's, because Eddie as a kid goes down into the basement looking for his mom all stacked up, and I'm like, look, dude, you fought Pennywise like twice by now.
You would not go
You
alone.
should not be questioning this.
Yeah, you shouldn't be down there.
And falling for this. This is a little too, you've already been in the house once.
Yeah.
This is a little too, okie dokie, but I mean, I don't totally fault the movie
But he
for
plays
that.
it pretty funny. Like, why is the curtain still here?
Yeah. No, when he's an adult, but I'm talking about when he's a kid.
Oh, yeah.
When it's his mom calling to him, and this is when they're supposed to have just broken up after going to the house the first time.
Yeah.
And I can't 100% buy that he would just, okay, I'm not going to question that this is Pennywise at all. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is. I wouldn't trade
that kid
when
is
I said
so good, though.
when I said I would trade. He is the modern encounters with Pennywise afterwards. There is one that I wouldn't. It's Bill's when he's at the sewage place where Georgie died, and he has that encounter. I wouldn't get rid of that.
All the little hands.
That's so. It's so important, and it's Bill's way of getting the thing back. And when he says, "I hate you," James McAvoy is so good.
And telling the kid to get away, to get out of there.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
all of that
I don't
is
hear
so
anything
good.
from the sewer. I hear things from the drain.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no.
Yes. The whole thing, James McAvoy does such a good job of slowly bringing back the stutter.
Yeah.
That takes over from once he comes back to the town, it starts coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good and so layered in. I love it.
James McAvoy, Isaiah Mustafa, and Bill Hader are the 3 big standouts for me. I mean, the guy who played Eddie was great. Jessica Chastain, she did a great job also.
Yeah.
But I think the 3 biggest standouts, besides Bill Skarsgård, obviously, are those 3.
I don't think there is a week.
No, definitely not.
Frankly.
Definitely
No,
not.
I think Bill Hader brings some really funny moments to this movie, and I think one of my favorite scares is actually Bill Hader's second. When he split up, when we get his flashback scare and then we get his present day scare.
the Paul Bunyan.
The-
that was messed
The
up.
Paul Bunyan bit was really messed up, but I really like when Pennywise sees him in the
yeah.
present,
It's the color changing
color
and everything
change and-
behind going and swaying back and
Oh,
forth.
yeah.
Oh,
and
that was
and all the
effed
people
up.
behind him just look up and then start swaying back and forth. It's really unsettling. Really
It's probably the only moment, even though I knew he wasn't going to get it there,
Yeah.
it's the only moment where I thought he could.
yeah.
It's the only moment where the movie tricked me. All the other modern ones, I was like, I know you're not going to get got here.
Yeah.
I know this isn't it.
Get got.
Going back to some of the negatives, you brought up the fortune cookie scene. I've seen people talk about the CGI and stuff. None of the CGI so much bothered me except for the fortune cookie scene. That one bothers me a lot, and the reason it bothers me the most is because it's pointless. Usually when Pennywise uses fear on them, he takes a specific image for a reason. All of those don't have reasons. Every other encounter, every other image he takes is themed to something with the person who's seeing it.
That's just
and
a spooky
those
scene
ones
with bugs.
aren't.
Yeah.
They're just weird for weird's sake, and I didn't need them. They were unnecessary. The Stanley fortune cookie bit is enough. You do that where they get the fortune cookies.
Stanley could not cut it.
That's more
Yeah.
effective, and then just have the black tar ooze out. That would have been fine with me. I didn't need the little creatures. They look bad.
Yeah,
and
they do.
don't match to Pennywise's theme,
Especially
that is present everywhere
The
else.
eyeball with the tentacles, that was, I feel, the worst one. Because I could tell, like, that just looks bad.
They're none of them are good.
Did you guys notice the de-aging on some of the kids?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I don't
Little
think I
bit.
did.
They
I
have a
don't
little bit
think
of
I
shine.
They look a
bit of
little
shine on them.
glossy.
Yeah, a little shiny.
did. Okay.
Because they de-age them to look the age because some of them are
they have to
taller.
look
Yeah.
exactly the same as they
'Cause
did
it's-
in
yeah.
It Chapter 1.
And unfortunately, they're at the age where they grow real fast.
Yeah.
They are growing boys.
Growth spurts.
Yep.
And Finn Wolfhard made this movie after Stranger Things 3, I want to say.
Probably.
I'm not sure.
I'm not
I would-
100% sure on this one. So
around
he,
the same
So he
time.
does look different, look very different.
Yeah.
So they needed
You
to
can
do something.
you can definitely tell in some of the moments because there's ones that are clearly shot from It Chapter 1 and then there's
Yeah,
ones
like-
that are
You
Oh, yeah.
could tell.
There
It
are-
Chapter
there's
2.
like deleted
he's,
scenes.
He's
from
the
it.
one who it stands out with the most, frankly. Like all the
'cause he
other
has those
kids,
big glasses.
all the other kids are kind of okay.
Yeah, the
He also got a lot taller.
Yeah.
you can tell like
He's
what-
always hunching over on the bike.
you can tell what's the difference between deleted scenes from It Chapter 1 versus what's shot new for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like when they go into the house and they're just like, love what he's done with the place.
Yeah.
With the black tar oozing into the
another
walls.
really good scene is when Pennywise is carving into Ben, and it's just like all you see
Oh,
is
yeah.
just like home at last, and then finally you look up in the mirror, there he is.
That's
in
an
the
awesome
mirror.
scene.
Yeah,
That is a
that's
really
a cool
good.
one.
That was an effective scare.
Yeah, and it's a cool image. The CG bits that work for me are when they make Pennywise unearthly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I prefer when they use CG to kind of highlight Pennywise's performance to make him more unearthly than even what Skarsgård can do.
Yeah.
The CG, some of the CG moments, like you can't do Paul Bunyan without CG, and that,
No,
that
yeah.
works
Yeah.
for
So,
me. With a lot.
30-foot Paul Bunyan, sure. Every time that they deal with like zombie people, why do they have to be CGI?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? It's so
Especially
much more expensive.
Especially because the leper, I think the leper in this one was CG. I'm not 100% sure.
100%.
Not- he was
Not
CG.
all the time. There is one when Eddie is choking him. He's practical.
Okay.
Yeah, but the leper in the first one was completely practical.
Yes. And it does feel unnecessary, and I agree.
Yeah.
What I wish had been done is Bowers from what I understand of the book, Bowers is used as Pennywise because fear, he can't get to them quite the same
Physically.
way.
Yeah.
And that's why like he does freak them out, but Bowers is his instrument to get after them
Yeah.
while he's killing kids. I wish that's how Bowers had been utilized a little more here.
Same.
You need the
Though-
other side of that
though
coin. Yeah.
I do really like Bowers' presence does provide one excellent thing. Frankly, I love the scene where he sees the balloon.
That is cool.
That's an
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
credit to that actor who plays older Bowers. You really sold me on the happiness of seeing that balloon and the way you go crazy about it and like tracking it to the window and being so sad when it isn't in his room.
And it's
Yeah.
cool that like Pennywise
and then
helps
it's there
him
and
escape.
he's playing
Yeah.
like that. All is really good.
I do wish.
Um,
I'm pretty sure it was from the miniseries that like a dog in a clown outfit helps him get out of the prison, and I was like, oh, I could have used that.
Yeah.
I could have used Pennywise dog.
Yeah. But I kind of like Hochstrasser.
No, I did too.
Doing it and having the car out front for him and everything.
Zombie friends, cool.
Yeah, but I like Bowers being in this movie solely for the fact that Eddie pulls the knife out and stabs him,
Yes.
and then later Richie's like, "Who pulled a knife out of his own cheek and stabbed Bowers with it?" Yeah, that was me. Like,
Yeah.
that's really good, and it does build Eddie up for what he does.
Yeah, you're right.
And that is important for the narrative overall.
Yeah.
Like as much as like Bowers does ultimately for this film feel kind of needless, he's important to Eddie's arc to be able to face Pennywise.
I think my problem with this is
It's certainly not as tight.
it's not as tight. I think it's structured very it's a weird structure. It's not just a traditional 3-act structure either. So I'm like, it kind of lose like the entire middle act is just them on their spirit quests, and there's like very like, oh, here's Pennywise, and I'm like,
it's their time heist.
it's their time heist,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I didn't need all of this time heist, man. Like I don't know. I'm just like, Ari Aster makes really long horror movies.
Yeah.
But all of those scenes are usually like, I feel like you don't need to cut anything from those movies.
Sure.
Like I see scenes and like, if you took this from the movie would be the exact same.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work for everything, but I just felt like they gave him as much budget
You're
as
in
they
this.
want.
You're in this weird like catch-22 where I think, yeah, it's easy to look at it kind of in the big picture and say, like, I didn't need this of them getting the totems and everything, but you take it away and we're not spending enough time with them as the adults.
No,
and we're
yeah.
not spending enough time on the arcs that come to full closure with them. The Ben and Bev stuff isn't built up the way it needs to be, because Bev's whole thing is that she forgot who even gave her that poem, and thinks for a moment it's Bill, and that's so devastating for Ben. God, I love Ben and Bev's whole thing. I'm so glad it plays out the way that it does.
Hot
The
Ben.
Bill haters like, oh my God, what happened to you guys?
Yeah.
Look at me, I look like shit.
It's really good. There's a lot of good play between them.
Yeah.
I think I don't want to undersell. Like, I think the Chinese restaurant scene is excellent between them, but I also think one of the best scenes amongst the losers is the scene as adults when they're in the cabin.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Their little hideaway that they've built, and they're talking about Stanley.
I like when they're like, what about you, Richie? Did you get married? It's like, oh, you didn't hear? It's like, no. I got. What's your mom and I have been married.
Yeah.
What's also so hard is you have to sell this idea of them remembering each other,
Yeah.
and not these old bonds that they've always remembered. It's like they were close for a long time, and then they forgot.
Yeah.
They forgot everything, and you have to sell that through this movie too, and that.
What's
They're hampered so much by the things that they have to do because that's how it's structured in the book.
What is interesting is that, I knew they forgot Derry. I didn't know they forgot each other. And they make it clear that they don't remember each other anymore.
Yeah.
And when they see each other,
Bill
like, oh my
forgets,
God, I remember you.
It's even past that. Bill forgets Georgie. And
Yeah.
that's so rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I love that scene where he's by where Georgie died, is because I'm like, man, having to remember all of it is so terrible.
All the emotional stuff, and again, all the characters dealing with trauma stuff is awesome, and I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think
Hot take on this. I think that the flaw of the film isn't that there's too much of this unnecessary stuff. It's that there's not a little bit more to make it great.
Maybe.
I think that this movie actually needed to be longer, believe it or not.
I
think
that's
maybe,
what I said.
maybe,
I said I would have watched another 15 minutes of this movie because
Yeah.
there was more that I wanted this movie to give
Maybe
me.
that's what I need. Yeah.
I think that
You
it's,
know what? I think you're right, because there were parts of this movie that I thought were great, like the Ben and Bev stuff, where Bev is telling Ben about the poem and then the kiss from Billy at the end of the first movie, and he's like heartbroken.
By
And he's like-
George, I think we've cracked it.
and it's just like, but that was me, and she doesn't figure it out until the very end. But I think you're right. There's parts of it that
So Bill.
I want the
Bill-
7-hour supercut of these two films together,
Hell yeah.
please.
So
Think
Bill's wife, I forget her name in the book. It's like Ardra, but she's a major character in the miniseries and in the book.
Yeah.
And she is. I think she's in a scene.
She
she's in
is.
the first scene.
She's in the very
with
first scene,
Bill.
and then she's completely forgot, and you kind of forget about her all the way through. And I know, like, without having a reference for this, like, you guys don't know why she's important, but I feel like you have the scene where she where he and Bev like kiss again, and you completely forget that they're both married, which I guess is
I didn't forget, but
like they pick and choose
I
what
know
they
why
want.
I know why you're talking about this, and
Yeah.
I know why, like, oh, that would be great, but like, of all of the things, she is the thing that's like so unnecessary. I think that
I don't think don't even put her in the movie to give me that idea. Then
you I get it. I get what you mean. Like, but
if you're not familiar with it, then like it doesn't matter. But like
Sure.
you introduce that character to me, and you show me she's in this movie, and then you don't do anything
Well,
with her.
Bev's husband was also a part in the book, I believe. Bev's husband comes looking
But
for
we
her
have a
and
scene
Barry.
where you see what their relationship is, and
Yeah.
how it's what's it called abusive.
yeah.
You get that from there. You don't get any. You don't really get
That's
much.
that's a tough scene. by
Yeah.
the
yeah,
way.
that's another.
And
tough
again, that's
scene.
the thing I love about this movie is like all these people have regressed back to their childhood forms. Like Bev is still dealing with abuse.
And I mean, that's the
stuff
thing.
like
Like the whole Bill's like having his wife thing. Like it doesn't bother me that like him and Bev kiss or anything, because it's the concept of like remembering this.
Yes.
Coming back to these memories flooding you and being around that person again. I understand it, and I even like that. I feel like that moment works because later when Bill looks over and sees Ben and Bev together, and he smiles when they're at the lake.
Yes.
It's like, yes, great. He understands. He knows that this is better.
Yes.
He's at a different point, but when he's kissing her in that moment, he's the kid.
Yeah.
In the first movie, there's many references to a turtle when they're in the quarry. Which, by the way, I really like the quarry scene in this film. I think that's a good one. When they're in the quarry, they're like, "Oh my God, there's a turtle down there! Give me that damn turtle!"
Did
Show me
you
that
see
damn
the turtle
turtle.
in this movie?
Yeah, it's in the classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a turtle toy in Richie's room and George's room in the first movie.
Yeah.
And then the turtle. In
It's
the lake.
present. Like the turtle stuff. like Matt's talked to me too and said that he sent me a bunch of messages, and I'll go through some of them about this movie. But yeah, he said that he wanted the turtle in this movie. Super bummed that it wasn't there. But here's the thing, that is Eternals level stuff. That is Annihilation and death as an actual character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff that we haven't gotten in those movies, and there's 22 of them. Yeah. I can understand why they went, maybe this is a step too far for this film. Yeah. I get it. I really do. I'm like, I understand why we don't get the turtle.
Ben, to answer your question, by the way, just remember, Pennywise is from the Macroverse. He calls it the Macroverse in the book.
This is probably something like the turtle thing is probably one of the reasons that Andy wants to make the other It film.
Yeah, possibly.
To go into that crazier stuff. But the thing is that, like, there is some more stuff, obviously, from the book for him to tie into, but there's not enough where I'm like, yes, make another movie.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to do it with different characters also.
Yeah, 100%. It would have to be a prequel. And I'm like, I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying, like, the text doesn't exist in such an enormous amount enough for me to want that.
I agree.
I would rather just a longer version of this movie, frankly.
Yeah.
I really like... For me, everything with the ritual worked. I will say that I thought
I like the design of the ritual flashbacks.
Yeah, you love the design of the vessel for the Mafuba, right? The evil containment wave.
Evil containment wave, baby.
From Dragon Ball. Everybody got that. That's what that is, right?
Yep.
I whispered that to him in the theater.
Yeah,
it's great.
We both like said it at the same time. Yeah. We were both looking at each other. Yeah. It's the Mafuba.
No, actually, when Isaiah Mustafa, when Mike pulled it out, I'm like, that shit's from Dragon Ball. You bastards.
Yeah. Well, honestly, made it around the same time.
Yeah.
Who knows who took it? Probably Toriyama took it from him, frankly.
Who cares?
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Mr. Krypton over there. Anyway, I told Ryan this. I feel like I'm really glad with the way the ritual is done. I like him seeing this kind of clay brought to life through CGI animation like it takes the form you're most afraid of, and you see this encounter with it, and it turns from like a giant raven into something unnatural. And I'm like, this is such a good way to conceptualize this, because if you try to make it something really practical, it's too hard to actually nail down. But this is very imaginative. It makes it so that it lives in your idea of what fear can be. And I thought that was a really good way to do it. What I will say is that I thought that they made the whole thing sound more complicated than it is.
I think that's my problem.
That's the thing with the exposition about the ritual. They really made it seem hard to understand, and it isn't. And I don't know why they kind of labored it as hard as they did. It's really simple. We take tokens about things from our past, we sacrifice them, we throw him into this thing and contain him. That's it. Like, it didn't need to be as complicated as they make it sound.
Because I feel like that scene went on for a really long time, and he's still explaining to Bill.
And what's so weird, and again, this is kind of where I wanted more weird. The ritual it showed is different in the book. I was doing some reading, and apparently, like it allows Bill to go into Pennywise's mind and find out everything and talk to the turtle, and like there's more to it in the book.
That again, like that's the stuff that's like maybe that's too much. Maybe this It movie audience isn't ready for this.
I totally hear what you're saying, but there was a part of me that fully expected
100%
because everyone's reaction to this movie was like it was so weird. Like, not really.
But that's the thing. We're the comic nerds, and this is a horror film that did so well with mainstream audiences. I can understand where they went, maybe this is the bridge too far.
And again, like that first It movie, it's very grounded. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of explaining things. So when you have this 10-minute scene of him explaining this ritual and how he spent all these years researching, I'm like, it just doesn't feel like the same thing that I was watching before.
I mean, like you have to have the ritual, and I think that's all fine. I just think they labored the point too hard.
He over-explained it when he should have been like, I found this thing, I don't even know if it works, but it's worth a try.
I mean, I like Mike going and investigating and talking to the people about it.
Yes.
I wanted all of that. I just needed it to sound simpler when he explained it.
I think that's my problem with it.
They just make it sound really difficult in just like elaborate, and it's not. It's very basic.
Yeah.
In the concept.
You figured my problem out. There you go.
I'm pretty much done. What about you guys? You got any more?
The best scene for me in this movie is an homage to my favorite horror movie, The Thing. It is a shot-for-shot scene of the head growing
Stanley getting
legs,
the
spider legs,
oh.
And then Bill Hader saying, "You got to be effing kidding me," which is a line directly from The Thing. That's an awesome scene. Spooky Stanley spider head is awesome. And then Bill Hader just goes, "Oh, it's Stanley." Like he's not shocked. He's like, "Oh, look at that guy!" Like,
and then he looks up. He's like,
"Oh, there's Stanley."
He's
there
like,
he is.
"There he is."
Yeah. That scene was real great. That I didn't mind CGI there.
Yeah, I just remembered something that I was going to say.
I really like the execution of how they let you know that because they all forgot the things about their past, they wound up living lives they didn't want to.
Yeah.
Eddie married his mom.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Bev married a guy just like her dad.
Yep.
Mhm.
Things like that where they kind of wound up repeating traumas in their lives into steps.
Bill couldn't finish sentences. Now he can't finish books.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's relevant. I don't know if that's
realize that like it's not expanded. The idea isn't expanded on a lot in the movie because there isn't a way to do it in this film. But Richie forgot he loved Eddie.
Yeah.
That's a thing. Like he just forgot Eddie.
Yeah.
So that's
and even the movie tries to make you think it's Stanley.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of like the misdirect there when we finally see at the end, because he's so
But
we can still go back.
Richie
for him.
is Eddie is the one that Richie always gave the most shit to.
Yeah.
And you see it.
And it's so cute.
Yeah, and you can kind of see the pieces of it when they're at the dinner where they're reconnecting to each other.
My heart broke when Finn Wolfhard Richie was trying to play Street Fighter with this guy who turned out to be the cousin of their bully.
Of Bowers, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Like that poor kid.
It's like he just wants to play another round of Street Fighter. What's wrong with that?
I really like seeing the vulnerable.
Vulnerability.
There you
It's a
go.
hard word.
Of Finn Wolfhard.
Me too.
Because we don't see a lot of it in the first film because he is playing this type of character.
Yeah,
and
for
to
sure.
add, this is kind of where I like the flashbacks. I do question why they're there, but I understand it, I guess. It's conflicted feelings about the flashbacks. But there's where I really like the flashbacks because we get to see a side of Finn Wolfhard that we didn't see in the first film.
I think that the flashbacks are important. The scares that Pennywise brings to them are relevant. If you throw yourself back to where they were at in that first film, at that moment in time, where they'd all been broken up, I do like that they go for that. It's necessary and thematically well designed. I think that you kind of need to see that. I feel like the stakes work there. Mm-hmm. It's that the stakes in the modern ones don't land as well for me. And again, like if I could change one thing about the movie, I would have more of Pennywise killing kids in the present.
Yeah,
I just need more of that. It gives me a little more Pennywise for this movie. It gives me a little more sense of his threat. It gives me, frankly, just easy to do scares where I know people are in danger because I know they aren't going to make it.
Yeah, so like I said, I do feel conflicted about the flashbacks. I totally understand what you're saying, Sparks, but with the Wolfhard's flashback, that's where I really appreciated them because it did give us that added depth to the character that we didn't get in the first film. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Also, still on like Richie, Bill Hader at the end crying. Like after they defeat Pennywise, they're all just kind of standing there, and then Richie just starts bawling. And I'm like, oh my god, Bill Hader's acting. He's a really good actor.
Mm-hmm. And then he's got to save faces. Like I don't have my glasses.
Yeah,
I don't know who you guys are.
I think everybody brings a lot. Unfortunately, and it's kind of just the nature of the role. Mike Hanlon kind of gets the short end of the stick.
It's sad because he's kind of the guy that gets it together.
He's the guy who brings them together, but they don't do a lot to expand on what his personal fear is in his more adult life.
They just keep flashing back or talking about like when his parents burned in the fire. And that's like the only thing.
Because there's not a lot that he's lived with Pennywise on his mind. This isn't all coming back to him. It's not all fresh.
He's the
and
crazy
new.
guy of the town, right? Yeah.
What I wish they'd gone for is the fear that Pennywise could have played against Mike is the idea that Mike is leading them to their death.
That's awesome.
That's what I wish we had seen more with Mike.
There was a bit like that with Bev in her old apartment when Pennywise says, if you close your eyes, you'll know that you haven't changed anything. They all die in the same ways that you saw. And just close your eyes, Bev. And I like that. I would have liked more of that.
Yeah, I would have liked that for Mike because the whole thing is when Pennywise gets to the end, he's like, you didn't tell them. And you see the flash of the imagery and that clay imagery again.
I really like
the ritual killing everyone who's there.
Yeah, I really like the reveal that he's like a giant spider dude.
Yeah.
Like when he shows up and you just see his face and he's like, oh, you didn't tell them, did you, Mike? And he like walks around like, Jesus, spider legs.
And let's talk. I like the way that I agree with you, Ryan. You brought this up right after we saw it. While they were turning him into a pathetic small clown, it should have flashed back to the first film when they made him small. When they made him beatable,
this entire
that
movie,
it should have been juxtaposing the two.
This entire movie, we're having flashbacks and stuff, but the final battle, they don't have a flashback when they beat him the first time, and that would have been so awesome to see.
I think I liked it because I think the point of making that first movie is that you didn't need to do the flashbacks, which is why I go back to the flashback.
But my meaning is there's so many flashbacks already in this movie.
Yeah, so I didn't mind not having the flashbacks there. What I did like was the parallel of them beating Pennywise if you have the first film in your head, because in the first film, Pennywise isn't quite prepared for them all to attack him, so he can't quite figure out what to do to them.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, Richie's in my face. Oh,
yeah,
I need
he's
to
trying
do this.
He's trying to switch
transforming.
Yeah, and he's confused, but this time he's like, no, now I've got you. I've been preparing for you guys, and I appreciated the kind of parallels.
You for 27 years.
Yeah.
I like the way that the execution of Pennywise's death is really good.
Kind of felt bad for small little Pennywise there.
I felt,
not even a little.
At first, I'm like, wow, he's just a sad, small little creature. You kind of want to feel bad for him.
How many people has he murdered?
But
exactly.
But it goes to Skarsgård's performance, because I think even in the CG moments, Skarsgård's performance really shined through.
I love his last line, which is, "Look at you, all grown up."
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
And they take his heart out and crush it.
That's really
Excellent. I love if you've seen the miniseries, if you know the original miniseries, this is such a good character ending for everybody.
For real.
In comparison,
Yeah.
like I as many qualms as you could have about this movie, I will put this hands and legs above that miniseries as far as execution of the finale. So good.
Just like they have like the stick, and it's like, yeah, it kills monsters if you believe it.
And that's really what it comes down to for me at the end, is like by the end of the film, the character drama landed. Even Stanley's note, which is a little can be controversial to some people, for like the admission of like why he takes himself out of it and everything, but I thought it really worked. I liked Andy Bean having that moment.
Yeah, it is really sad. But like he knew like he was the weak link, and he knew he would get them killed if he went there, and that's kind of sad. But
however, one of the things that I would have liked to have seen was that they are weaker without him. Like we get a sense of it, but we don't get a confirmation of it. That without Stanley, like the seven of them were enough to be Pennywise. Yeah. Without Stanley, are the six enough?
And again, that's just straight from the book. Like he dies, like he's the first one to go, just like that. Like,
yeah, I know, but in the book, it is made clear that
I know what you're saying.
The six of them aren't as strong.
The ritual's supposed to have 7.
Gotcha.
Even though they put his totem in there, he's not there.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to have 7. There's a reason, like there's a serendipity and fate to the characters of the fact that these 7 are stopping Pennywise.
7-11.
Yeah, so I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that.
For sure. Yeah, I get that. I still think that when you get to the end of the film, everything about these characters feels like it came to its full circle.
Yeah.
And I do find it very effective.
I think the ending is a good ending.
Yeah, I think I think all of the character narratives are played really well. It's so hard when you're working from a over 1,000-page book with all these main characters, and they're all main characters. And I feel like most of them got done their due justice.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so final thoughts and rate?
Real quick, can I just read some of what Matt sent?
Sure.
Hell yeah.
Because Matt was on our It Part 1 discussion, but he's not here with us now.
The Spook Slinger?
So here's what Matt had to say. More than anything, what I like about the story of It are its themes, characters, and the powerfully wistful feeling that falls over you as you reach the end. It's a masterclass in love over fear and a major punch of bittersweet right to the gut. I felt that It Chapter 2 delivered on these elements in spades. The casting and performances were excellent. People have said they would have liked more time with the adult losers, and I totally get that. But I really like what we got. I felt it was definitely all killer, no filler. The abundance of comedy was never something I found to be overbearing or obnoxious. The movie sets out to be a roller coaster, part of the deal made to make the story more accessible to mainstream audiences, and the humor plays a valuable role in it. Pomeranian behind the door, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The scares I felt were mostly of the chase variety, and that got a little bit tiresome maybe once, but I also think that the scares, be them metaphorical or otherwise, really serve the story and it seems well. You can't keep running, and the only way fear dies is from you staring it down. Cycle of abuse must be broken. Visually, I thought the film was pretty spectacular the grand majority of the time. Some of the CGI wasn't quite top tier, but that's something that people have really blown out of proportion in other places. I needed the film to expose layers of gray and showcase Pennywise's cruelty. Done and done. King's cameo was great. We didn't even touch on King's cameo.
A little bit.
I did in the beginning.
Yeah, a little bit.
I liked it a lot.
I feel like we haven't got a good King cameo since Pet Sematary in the 80s.
The original one, yeah.
I have mixed feelings on Stanley's suicide note. It delivered a powerful emotional punch that gave me the feeling and sense of completion that broke my heart and inspired me in equal measure at the end of the novel, but it also, by changing why he did it, muddies the waters a little bit in a way that probably could have been avoided.
Why does he do it in the book?
It's fear.
Oh, okay. So they made it kind of more righteous.
A little.
Okay. Now I totally understand why people have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Eddie is my guy. I love the way they built up his journey from being a man who literally makes a living calculating the way things can go wrong to being a man willing to believe, to love and to fight. Super awesome. I could go on about a lot of this, but I'll sum it up for now by saying craft-wise, the first film is superior, but based on this viewing where I like the first a lot, I love this film. The meat I wanted is here. Also, no Maturin, the space turtle, bummer. Inclusion of the ritual of Chud plus subtle allusion to the tower. I'm gonna jizz. These are all Matt's words. Plus that shot of Henry getting picked up by the corpse of Hockstetter outside the facility. Awesome. The finale was altered some, but I felt it was done in a way that gives both to the fans of the novel while making changes that make sense for this adaptation and stay true to the heart of the tale. Flawed? Sure. Okay, whatever. Could very well become required October viewing for me. Held back some tears, couldn't stop them all.
Eddie's death is really tragic.
Yeah.
Eddie's death is beautiful.
Yeah.
Frankly, Eddie's arc across both movies is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so Ben.
Yeah.
Final thoughts and ratings.
I still like this movie. I don't think I like it as much as I did the first one. Obviously, talking to you guys or listening to you guys talk about it, I was like, yeah, I agree with some. I may not agree with some, or I agree with some. I don't agree with some. I still don't hate this movie. I don't hate it.
I don't think anyone hates this movie.
No, I don't think anyone hates this movie either. I don't necessarily like it. I really felt the length when I got out of it. I really, really did. And it's not a big bummer, but it's like, damn, they could have shaved off a lot. Rating wise, I would say it's I can't give a full rating. It's between a 7.5 and an 8 for me. It's like
7.75.
Yeah, 7.75. It's still a good movie.
7 3/4 portions.
Oh god. I think I gave the original it an 8 or a 9 or something, but there are times where I'm sitting there going, all right, can we just hurry it up, please? Can we get to the good stuff?
Sparks?
I really, really did enjoy this. I think this combined with the first film is it's hard to adapt this story, frankly. It's just hard to adapt this story. This is probably one of the hardest books from Stephen King to put to screen. And I think that this is a superior job to the miniseries, frankly. And
100%.
And probably the only way you could get it better is to have elongated or had a third film. But I think like just trying to picture breaking that up into 3 films is kind of muddy effort. But I really like this. I think that the first film is superior in some ways. I think it's a better horror film. I think it is a horror film with great characters, and I think this is a great character film with some good horror. And I also kind of favor this a little for just that. I like that kind of story. So for me, it lands a lot better. I do feel like there are some things that could have, for this film, been taken out, but also what I would have rather is just had more to make all those things land even harder than they got to. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I give it 8.5, 8.5.
Okay. Ryan?
Yes, I at the end of the road, I quite enjoyed it, but when I look back, there are some rough spots for me, opinions, whatever. I definitely don't like this as much as the first one. I think that first one is like stellar all the way through.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I gave that one like a 9 or higher. Like I love that first movie. I wanted to love this movie, but I felt by going bigger in scope, even though it's going bigger in scope by not including the actual cosmic stuff, it kind of lost its way for me. It didn't feel as tight. But all the acting is great. Like all the scares that are there are good. I wanted this to be a horror movie. Like, it is a really good character piece, but I came to see a horror movie. It's not like it's a bad movie or anything, but I wanted this to be like the first movie, or at least stick with the tonally of what that first movie was. So I would give it a 7.5. Like, it's still 7.5. It's still a good movie. I wish it was like that first one more.
I definitely could have used Pennywise killing kids in the modern day.
Yeah.
That's my biggest
More
thing.
Pennywise,
It's just more
please.
of that, because that would have provided a lot more of that scare.
A
From
movie
horror
this
film.
long should not have less clown.
Like, you only see 3 people. Sorry, Brandon. You only see 3 people die in the modern age. The first guy in the beginning of the movie, and those 2 kids.
Yep,
that's it.
Like we said before, the kill count is a bit of an issue for me. I don't.
We're savages here at the Fake Nerd Podcast.
But I just can't get over. Like, I don't understand. We have the first film specifically so they didn't need to do flashbacks, and you still structure the second film like the structure of the book. I do just question it. I just can't get over that question I just have. Like, could you have found a way around it? Could you have tried to do something else? Like, that's kind of where I'm sitting with that.
I'm not a good enough writer to fix the movie's problems, but I agree with it.
Yeah. And so that's why I say I don't. It's not that I dislike them. It's just I question why
They didn't need to be there.
Yeah. So I just wanted more from this film, from this almost 3-hour film. I just wanted more of it, more lore, more weird, more Pennywise,
more turtles.
Yeah, definitely don't want that damn turtle. I just wanted to see the turtle. And I think
Every Stephen King movie, I just want to see the turtle. He's always there.
Floating in space.
I think the great characters do elevate this film up from where I would have given it if they weren't so good. I'd probably give it a 7.5. That's where I'm landing.
Just a quick comment about the flashbacks thing. I think one of the struggles of like why you can't eliminate it when you're coming from the book is because that's how they keep Stanley present.
That's true.
Once Stanley has passed, the way they keep him present is by flashing back on time with him as a kid. Otherwise, he doesn't feel like a prevalent character.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a hard part to get away from.
All right, then. Shall we move into our book club?
All right, cool, Ben.
Yeah.